It's just as stupid as like Tradwives coming online to be like, I just don't speak unless my husband speaks to me, and I just stay at home like making everything from scratch. And it's like, then why are you making a video? Why do you have a career? Why do you have followers? Why are you making any money? Like, go and let your husband provide for you. Did your husband let you say this right now? It's a complete hypocrisy to it. So they're making money off of telling other women not to have a job. They're securing their independence. Like, these women are making bank. And so if they go on to have any problems in their relationship, they've got the money to go and leave. But they're encouraging other women not to speak, not to grow in any way, not to secure themselves financially.
I am so sick of rich people telling us how to live our lives when they don't know shit about our lives. You want to give us advice? Then try living our lives for a couple weeks and then we can talk. I feel like I've given erikakirk a little bit of space for a couple weeks. So I'm going for it. Today, I'll be bulldozing her ridiculous advice to American women. And she's not the only rich white lady I'm going to put on blast today. And this is also going to be a Jennie's confessional where I'm going to personally put my former self on blast. So I'm not discriminatory. America is in full-blown let them eat cake era at the moment, and I'm fucking over it. Just a little warning to my grandmas in England who don't like me to cuss. I will be using the F word approximately 3 times because if I'm going to look like a Mormon tradwife, I got to sound like a hellion. I've just decided I'm going to lean into that. So let's go. I'm Jennie Gage, and this is Life Take 2. Hi, everybody. I'm Jennie Gage, and this is Life Take 2. I am former MAGA, former Christian nationalist, white supremacist, Mormon, alt-right prepping, tradwife girly. And here I am today doing my best to fight against the insanity that we have going on here in the United States of America. Just a quick shout out to my book club, because education and having ideas in our head is definitely a big part of my denim revolution and fighting back against the madness. So this month, our first Audible book is completely free. I'll put that link in the description to take you to the video that gives you all of the explanations about that. Please join us. All right. Now let's listen to a little bit of erikakirk.
Women, I have a challenge for you too. Be virtuous. Our strength is found in God's design for our role. We are the guardians. We are the encouragers. We are the preservers. Guard your heart. Everything you do flows from it. And if you're a mother, please recognize that is the single most important ministry you have.
This whole thing is so triggering for me to listen to. Like, maybe you guys, like, your blood isn't even boiling like mine is. Mine is. And part of it is because I'm just triggered, because I used to do this too. And I didn't even have a fraction of the money that this woman has. But the lifestyle that I was living made me feel like I was better than everyone and that I was this light on the hill. And so that I should be telling people how to live their lives so that they could become like me, with this weird assumption that like everybody wanted to become like me. I truly thought that everyone wants to live like this. Everyone wants the big houses. Everybody wants to have a date night car. The fact that we spent the money to just have a fun little convertible that we could drive on dates and up to Sedona on a fall day. There was a time that we built a custom home up in Portland, and we could see another really lovely custom home on the other side of this little stream that was in our backyard. We had bought this beautiful property on the side of a little meandering waterway. And I was so annoyed that I could see the neighbor's house from my property that we bought a little mini forest of trees. These giant semi-trucks brought full-grown evergreen trees and planted them in our backyard along the river so that I couldn't see the neighbor's house. Within just a few years, by the way, I would be sleeping in my car, homeless. I would lose absolutely everything. I didn't know that that was going to happen at the time, obviously. That type of lifestyle makes you not understand what regular people are going through. I hate these Jennie's confession booth videos, but I feel like this is a really necessary component of what we're going to talk about today. And I've had people comment that I cry a lot in my videos. I cry in real life. I'm an empath, so there may be a couple of tears here. While I lived in this beautiful custom home, this thing was about 5,000 square feet. I lived there with my 5 beautiful children and my abusive nut job of a Mormon returned missionary husband. I had joined an MLM. So even though I was a traditional housewife, I had this little side hustle that gave me so much purpose, and I absolutely loved it. So a couple times a month, I would invite everybody I knew over to my house so that they could buy essential oils and eat homemade hummus with lemon oil and all this stuff. Frankly, I kind of forget how Mormon-y I was until I tell these stories. That is so Mormon-y, you guys. As part of these healthy living classes, I also certified in nutrition. So I would teach nutrition too, like soluble fibers versus insoluble fibers and saturated fats versus polyunsaturated fats, helping people to be more healthy. That was the whole purpose of my classes. So one night I had a bunch of women over, and I told this group that they needed to swap out, if they were eating white bread, for Ezekiel bread. And I had a loaf of Ezekiel bread with some freshly ground almond butter. My whole entire living room was full of women. And one of them raised their hands and was like, "Where do you buy that?" And I was like, "Whole Foods." And she's like, "How much does it cost?" I think it was like $8. And I remember the whole entire room all at once gasping and being like, $8 a loaf? And let me tell you, little Princess Jennie in her fancy palace could not understand why somebody wouldn't spend $8 on a loaf of really healthy bread. But those women, as they walked out to their 10-year-old minivans and Toyota Tercels and drove to their regular people homes in the suburbs, thought I was crazy. I had zero right to be giving life advice to people barely making it. Newlyweds and single moms. Like some of the girls that night were like brand new moms, and their husbands were still in college. And of course, one day I would become a single mom, and only then did I get it. Perspective totally changes when it's your pantry, your gas tank, your rent. It's real easy to preach discipline and healthy living from a marble kitchen. It's different when you're watching that ticker at the gas pump and you know you have to stop it right there because that's all the money that you have in your pocket. Erikakirk is just one woman in an army of rich, privileged women who have never lived our lives, who are telling the rest of us how to live. Now, I know Erikakirk's life because we spent part of our lives in the same hometown, only while she was in the mansions, I was just in a regular little track home. While she was being driven to school in the Mercedes and to her basketball practice and her beauty pageants, I was at home making cheap macaroni and cheese for my brothers and sisters who I had to babysit after school while my parents did their thing. My dad's thing, by the way, was a swing shift at a high school. So when Erikakirk says a woman's place is in the home, when so many regular everyday women have to work to put food on the table, I got to tell you, a rich Scottsdale pageant girl doesn't know jack squat about the life of an American mom, having to pay to Uber your high schooler to volleyball practice because you're working a 14-hour shift as a nurse. This, by the way, is based on a true story of a real life woman in my life who that's how her high schooler gets to volleyball practice in school. She has to Uber her. Saltine crackers and string cheese for dinner because you don't have time to grocery shop. Erica gets to spend as much or as little time with her babies as she wants, splashing in her backyard Olympic-sized pool. She gets to choose because she has privilege. When Erikakirk lost her husband, Billionaires stepped in to throw out that safety net. Elon Musk and Patrick Mahomes and Taylor Swift's boyfriend, what's his name? They were just throwing money at her, making sure that the palace was upkept and that the kids had college and that her every need was met. When I lost my husband and he took all the money and I don't have that type of safety net or billionaire friends, my kids didn't have socks or milk to put on their cereal. Feed your teenagers Cheerios with water a few times and you'll stop telling women to focus on the home and start telling them to protect themselves financially and make sure that they can provide. But she's too privileged to know that. I guarantee erikakirk has never run out of milk in her fancy side-by-side wolf fridge. And that's not a personal attack on erikakirk. That's a public platform reality check. If your message doesn't account for working class life, it's not advice, it's performance. The deceased Charliekirk told young college girls across America to get their Mrs. degree. Here's a little clip.
Joining us next is Grace. Grace, thank you for being a member. What's on your mind?
Well, so I've just been listening to you for a really long time, and I know you have really strong opinions on college. And as I head into college and just life in general, I was wondering how I could go about finding a godly man.
Well, so great question. What is the most important thing for you? Would it be career or building a family?
Building a family.
Great. So I got in so much trouble when I said this at the Young Women's Leadership Summit because people didn't listen to what I said. So let me repeat it, which is that if finding a husband is your top priority, if it's your top priority, then you should go into college with the intent of the MRS degree, which is, of course, finding a husband. There are a lot of godly men, I got to tell you, Grace, that love the Lord, that are in prime mating age.
Hypocrite. He has no idea what it actually means to get your Mrs. degree instead of actually working on an education that will do something in your life. You know who does? I do. Age 20, married. Age 36, 5 babies. Then I had an ovarian tumor and almost died and didn't have the access to medical care to take care of all of my cascading series of health problems. I spent years of my life in bed fighting to stay alive for my babies while simultaneously protecting myself from an abusive monster husband who was cheating on me. And by the way, while I was fighting for my life, he was endangering my life and would bring home 5 STDs. Here's how that Mrs. degree worked out for me, as you know. When I finally escaped 24 years of domestic violence, I ended up homeless and sleeping in my car, peeing in a red Solo cup. If you do ever find yourself sleeping in a car, by the way, the red Solo cup is your best friend. Holds a lot of volume. Here's the deal. Charliekirk and privileged people like him have never had to toast a piece of moldy bread for their kids and cover it in Trader Joe's raspberry jam so they don't notice because you couldn't afford to buy another loaf that week. I have. Privilege protects people from that. One privileged dude that I don't talk about enough on here, but I should talk about more, is RFK. Oh my God, this guy's just rubbing me in all the wrong ways lately. RFK can tell people to eat healthy and get more exercise. He's MAGA, right? Make America healthy again. RFK was raised in the White House. He is American royalty. Yeah, he had a little stint like riding the rails for a couple years when he was like a teenager, young adult, but then he snapped right back to being privileged again. He's never worked a full day, then driven for Uber to pay for the rent, sitting in a car wishing he had 30 minutes to get to the gym, wishing he could afford a gym membership, never lived on fast food and ramen because he didn't have to. Him and his Hollywood actress wife's personal chefs and personal assistants wake them up to organic coffee and fresh picked orchard fruit plus sheep yogurt parfaits in the morning is what I imagine those people eating because they have privilege. And it certainly wouldn't be a video on privilege if we didn't feature the King of America, President Donald Trump. He can change Medicare rules and say every able-bodied American can and must work if they want to be supported. Because he's never in his life cared for a mom with Alzheimer's at home because nobody in the family could afford a memory care facility while simultaneously fighting arthritis while also raising your grandbaby because your daughter died of fentanyl. And by the way, this is based on a real life member of my audience who sent me this little snippet about her life. Trump has never lived like that. Trump cannot imagine the stress, the daily grueling labor, the work you put into other humans because he's never had to change the diaper of a grown adult whose brain is in decay. And you know why he's never had to do that? Because he's fucking privileged as hell. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of words coming out of their mouths that show that they do not understand who we are or what we need. It's such a let them eat cake moment, isn't it? Well, here's my idea. Let them eat the same fucking cake we're eating, which for my teenagers is the Little Debbie zebra cakes from the Walmart Supercenter, which are $2.49 a box. Let them eat that fucking cake. I wanted to actually eat one on the video, but they're all gone. The only thing we have left is the honey buns. Abraham Lincoln gave this amazing speech at Gettysburg where he said, "Government of the people, by the people, for the people." That was his vision for America. Somewhere along the way, we switched people for privileged. Government of the privileged, by the privileged, for the privileged. And the privileged are spending all of their time doing podcasts and stump speeches and making policies to tell us how to raise ourselves up and live better lives. And these guys will never know how fucked in the head they are because of all of their privilege. I think it should be the law that before you become the president of the people in the United States of America, you must live for a whole year in the suburbs without any help and make it on your own. Kind of like a Survivor Island type of thing. Like, oh, you want to run for Senate? Well, first you go live in Ohio. And you got to get a job. There's no bank account. There's no trust fund. It's my 1 year in the suburbs challenge. It would probably be better if we just elected the people who actually came from real life to begin with and not people like Donald Trump. You're supposed to be the president of the people. So strip away the privilege and let them see how America lives. Let them fish in their sock drawers for 2 socks without holes. True story, my life 5 minutes ago. Let them put groceries on a credit card. Let them stand in the apartment office and try to explain to the manager why rent won't be paid until next Tuesday. Let them numb their brains on Netflix and cheap beer because they're too tired and poor to golf at Mar-a-Lago with their bestie Jeffrey Epstein and a bunch of Victoria's Secret models. Let any of them sit in the DES waiting room, which was a pivotal moment in my life when the little illusion of privilege that I had all came crashing to the ground and I had to go apply for food stamps and sit there for about 6 hours and then just get denied and go home without the ability to feed my kids. Let them sit in that DES waiting room, filling out the food stamps application, praying under their breath to get approved today because there is nothing in the fridge. And then maybe you can represent me. You know how I think we got to where we are here? America for generations has focused on the ceiling. How big can we build? How much can we achieve? How rich can a few of us get? I want to be a billionaire so fucking bad. It's this little carrot of wealth that's dangled out there in front of all of us. And while working so hard, just on the off chance that we win the lottery, that's been our focus. Break that ceiling. Fly me to the moon. Money, money, money. So here we are. A few people have gold leaf wallpaper and crystal chandeliers. And Elon Musk is about to become a trillionaire, and the Mormon church is almost there. The ceiling of the privileged is out of this world, literally SpaceX. But we didn't raise the floor. One of my 7 kids is a homeowner. My 29-year-old and his wife, my 24-year-old, my 22-year-old, none of them are about to become homeowners anytime soon. And they all have pretty good jobs. I have 0 retirement. I live in a 900 square foot apartment. Me and my honey both work our asses off. Our city is overflowing with humans without homes. And these privileged people, America's elite, sit in their palaces podcasting to us about what they think we should be doing, the traditional families we should be raising, the wholesome food we should be feeding them after we drive to the gym for a quick run on the treadmill. If Meghan Markle shows me one more way to decorate my kitchen island or one more candle that I should buy, I'm going to pull my hair out. Also, if I hear any more of these gurus like Tony Robbins and the rest of them, these high-ticket hustle sermons from people who will never add match diapers at midnight after working your night shift. These guys are selling staircase maps to the penthouse from the penthouse for the privileged few who live on their floor. Let them come eat our fucking cake. I'm so sick of the rich people telling us what to do. I did it all. And without the protection of the privileged, without that intergenerational wealth, without being an actual trust fund baby, without the land ownership and the millions in the bank, it failed. Thus, my intimate knowledge of red Solo cups in the back seats of cars. Here's what we can do. The homework is super simple. We, the people, can stop voting these privileged profiteerates into office. They don't belong there. They don't represent us. We can stop buying their products, boycott them, pull the financial rug out from under their billions. We can stop listening to their podcasts. We can stop following them on social media. We can stop buying their books and their protein powder and their little aprons and whatever else the hell they're selling. Government of the people, to me, means real people getting into office who will listen to people who lived like them, knowing how to help them, and then doing it. And we have to raise that floor first before we can ever talk about ceilings. The American obsession with the ceiling is all of our problem. It's what got us here. Drop your floor-raising idea in the comments. Not hustle hacks, not an extra side gig that you can do to make a little bit more money. Neighbor hacks, policy hacks. What would raise the floor for you and the people around you?